As a quick welcome, yes, this is the Green Room. You with Trevor and Lenny, we're the directors of Induka Group. We're excited to have you guys here as part of our webinar. Induka Group is a company that is aligned in a strategic partnership with our partners in America, who is Visa Solutions. They obviously an acclaimed international company, and what we do is we help people to live their dream, and the American dream, and that's exactly what the program is called, is Live Your Dream. So without taking a little bit more time in terms of the welcome, I think, Lenny, will you just quickly touch on what the Green Room is?
Yeah, good. Guys, so welcome to our Green Room. This is an exciting area where we have decided to bring this live to you guys. So we can put ourselves on the spot as well, and we can cover topics that is on your mind all the time, or things that you don't really think about on immigration. So these are topics that we'll be covering people in our program immigrating to the US, and it'll be relevant to people that is not in our program, immigrating to any other country. These topics can vary from, we're getting panelists in that will cover the emotional aspect of immigration. We will get people in that are going to be experts in immigrating financially. What does it mean to immigrate financially? What parameters have I got to put in place? And we're going to cover topics like today. We're covering the topics of immigration documentation. What documentation do I need? When do I need to get these documentation? What are the pitfalls with getting in documentation? Are there people that can help you with documentation? So these are all topics that we will be covering in the Green Room. And so this is a very, very exciting space for us, where we can actually share our houses with you at the moment, and our space, and we can answer some of your questions as well. So the Green Room is live for a reason, so we can interact with you guys, and we can see what questions you do have, and we will try and answer those as thoroughly as possible. So, but I think before we get to our topic of the day, Trevor, I think we have another elephant in the room to address. So I think anybody that has been on any of Facebook sites or any media to do with immigration, you would have been encountered with the Trump tweet about halting immigration. So Trevor, I think what we should do is also just tell them what we're about to do. So we're about to go into just a conversation with Trevor and I on the back of this. So some of it will be our opinion, but we will also stipulate some facts in this situation. So Trevor, with that, what is your opinion on this?
Yeah, Len, I'll tell you what, I think that both you and I woke up this morning and we were shocked by the tweet that we saw. And then it sort of just settles a little bit. You see something and immediately you go, oh my goodness me, what's going on? And then as you sort of go through drinking your first cup of coffee, it all sort of settles. So look, one of the things that Lenny and I have always been, and we always will be as part of the Induka Group, is completely transparent with everybody. Sometimes that's good, sometimes it's bad. We feel it's the best way to be, and hey, we are who we are, and this is it, it's real. We're all feeling what we're feeling. So let's quickly just talk about two things. The two things is that this is our interpretation and our understanding of what is happening at the moment, and as things change and develop, we'll obviously immediately come back to you guys with facts on the table. Currently, we're very aware of the fact that there's a momentary unemployment rate in America that is just escalating due to COVID-19. So, I mean, Len, I think that most of the guys that you and I have spoken to, we were sort of in a range between 2 and 3% unemployment in America, where right now it's escalated to, I mean, nobody's given specifics, but we're talking about between a 10 and 11%. Now, the reality of that is because all your retail sectors are closed. It's the same thing as we're experiencing here and the rest of the world, where the shops, the retail entities are absolutely just shut down. So what's happening in America? In America, being a first world country, I mean, the figure that we've had this morning was $320 billion that was put into small businesses and businesses in America. So they really try and help and stimulate certain factors. But what happens is the retail shop would, for example, pay their people the first 2 weeks if they were, and then those people would go and claim from what we know is the unemployment insurance fund in South Africa. So the minute they put that claim in, that escalates and it says, well, so many people are unemployed in America. By right, it's not, because when this has been uplifted, this lockdown, which is so real for all of us, is uplifted, they all go back to work. Or not all. There is going to be an impact on the economy. We all know that. So will they see a 2 to 3%? No, I don't think so. You know, and it will still have an impact on everybody on the economy. But let's talk a little bit then about everybody in the program currently and how that affects them. So maybe, Len, if you want to maybe just talk about one or two of the temporary visas, and obviously the fact that, I mean, you mentioned it last week, the EB3 or the green cards per se is on hold. Nobody can get a green card. So it doesn't matter if it was Trump, COVID-19 or what it was up until the 1st of October, that wasn't happening. But more to that, it's temporary visas currently that are the problem.
Yeah, I think, yeah, that is what we are anticipating it to be. You know, I think what we should do is also just go back to his message that stipulated temporary suspension. You know, it's also, you know, if you have to go through a whole bunch of processes to get those things signed into government and into play, you know, and I think we need to, just like, not like I'm an expert in the US systems and stuff like that, but I know from the executive order, for them to be able to get this whole thing signed off, you know, I've had a look at a whole bunch of research and people's opinions on this as well, which makes sense to me, is that, you know, when they have to sign this thing off, they have to try and evaluate what is the best case scenario, what's the worst case scenario for this. Obviously, Trump is looking out for the Americans at the moment, and he is trying to make them feel at comfort them by, you know, by reducing the immigration, which will allow people to fill in the positions that were created for immigrations. Yeah. But if you think about it, there's actually only 140,000 working visas created every year. And where they are sitting with 22 million people unemployed at the moment, you know, for me, in my opinion, it doesn't make a big impact, 140,000 people. But, you know, for a citizen, when he sees Trump do these type of things, I can understand how it can make the American also feel like, listen, hold on, there's a bit more hope because he is trying to look after me, which I do understand. But
and if we one day in America, you would like that to happen, you know what I'm saying, Len? I think
exactly.
That's the real side of it. So
yeah. So my side also is this, and you've got to understand that all these immigration departments, they do make money out of immigration. You know, so the people will be paying fees towards each of these things. You know, these people also have to eat. So when they shut these immigration departments, you know, a whole bunch of income coming into the coffers will also stop. You know, so this might be a worst case scenario for them to follow this process. But then again, for us to put a big blanket over his statement and saying it's for everybody, you know, it's for going to be the every department, which is Department of Labor, which is not immigration, by the way. So Department of Labor, where most of our applicants are lying at the moment, does not form part of immigration. That is a labor certificate that you will be getting. So that process continues as normal, all right? Where we should have a problem if this thing gets signed in, which we think it might not, but you know, let's wait and see for what transpires over the next couple of days and weeks, is that USCIS, there might be a delay on certain factors. But if it is only on temporary workers, then all the green card processes are still fine, you know, but we will only have clarity on those things in the due course.
Yeah. So when I was chatting to one of the two guys of in America, now obviously America, as everyone will well know, is only waking up as you and I are speaking currently. So, you know, we haven't had a lot of time to chat to people from that side of things, but I think that was very real was also the discussions around the fact that they can't, as you mentioned now, you can't suddenly close down immigration. Those people, then you're just going to create more job losses. So what might happen, and once again, you know, we're sharing our interpretation over here, what might happen is that they would process all of our applicants, but not issue them the next stage. In other words, the next step to going to NVC, and NVC obviously is not going to issue welcome letters.
Yeah.
So I think, like, let's talk about the facts quickly. The facts is that currently, besides a couple of families that we'll speak to on a face-to-face level, this is not going to impact anybody that's currently on our program or currently listening to us discuss the matters at hand.
Yeah.
I think what's also needs to be said is I think that a lot of people are, we need to understand that it's not a permanent factor. So even if this gets signed in, if Trump gets this signed in, it's talk about a temporary or what we're going to call, I mean, it's literally going to be something that's going to just be staged for a couple of months. So, then the impact again is what happens. Does the pipeline get very full? Does it mean that our applications might take a month longer? That we could only determine a little bit later down the course of the road. And once again, right now we were geared to the fact that we're not going to get any welcome letters. Only from the 1st of October we were going to receive them. So at this point in time, realistically speaking, everybody that's part of our guys going across or part of this program per se, you've got nothing to worry about right now. We will obviously keep you guys posted, and we'll continue having this discussion. I don't know if you feel that if there's anything else that you want to highlight, then
yeah, that's just my last opinion on this thing. I mean, if you think about it, there is an impact for a lot of businesses. So for businesses that were maybe offering people employment on the immigration side, there will be businesses that are going through that are being impacted. So what this also does, I mean, when there's implications like this for certain people, it does open opportunities for other people. So I'm saying this might actually speed up the process for companies that are still very, very strong financially and are still in the process of employing immigrants. So once this thing is cleared up and it's not signed into effect, this might actually make our program a little bit faster. I'm saying this is my silver lining on the whole thing, just trying to unpack it in a blue sky type of way. I'm saying they're going to process a lot less applications because a lot of applicants would probably fall by the wayside because these companies can't maybe afford them anymore. But I'm saying our program, we've been assured that, listen, this is what we have, is still good, it's still ongoing. And, which puts us in a bit of a better position. But we are playing open cards with everyone. As soon as we have information, we deal it out. Yeah.
Len, I think to that point, what I can tell you guys is that companies like Amazon, everybody knows it's common knowledge. They're looking for 100,000 employees. So that's going to be now a factor. So maybe if there was an American that was working in a mall at what we would know an equivalent of a Woolworths, he might now have to go and say, okay, I'm going to work in a warehouse. We know for a fact that UPS is currently employing, FedEx is employing, Amazon, as I've mentioned, just to name but a few. I think, Len, in my discussions about the new jobs that we're going to come available, what we can do over there is let's leave that just temporarily, because we do know that industry, the hospitality and the culinary industry, that is going to be impacted. So I think that let's we know that Visa Solutions was also going to be in discussions this week with the guys, and perhaps we could get a little bit more insight about that for Thursday. But yeah, I think that we recognize the elephant in the room. We're very real about it. We understand the concerns. We understand the perhaps the words to use is the fears for some people. There's money involved in our processes. There's lots of time. There's decisions to be made. Right now, guys, number one, we do not know that it's going to be signed in. Number two, it would be a temporary factor if there was. And I trust that we've given you as much as we can today to give you just a little bit of comfort on that elephant that's there. And what we'll do is, as this continues, each week we'll just touch on this and tell you what the facts are, straight from America. Although I think that most of our people are watching all the sites and all the tweets and everything else that is happening worldwide as we speak in any case. So we get it quickly from everybody as part of the program as well. Yeah, exactly. So I think with that, I mean, Trevor, let's go back into our program. Let's go back into a topic we want to cover. Yeah, we can also just do, and it's the same with you guys. I mean, everybody is in uncharted territory around the world. No one's been through something like that. So I think what we all can do is just what is in front of you. Keep doing what is in front of you, and it will create opportunities. So with that,
the topic we wanted to cover today is two things. One part of it was the positions available. So we won't cover the one position. The other position, we have touched on it. We will delve into it a little bit more, but also then documentation required for immigration. All right, Trevor, over to you.
Yes, so immigration naturally requires certain documentation, and this documentation, whether you're going to America, if you're thinking about Canada, Australia, New Zealand, these are the countries that most people are looking at going to, there's a couple of pertinent documents that will come to play. Okay, so first of all, let's talk about for yourself and your family is unabridged birth certificates, guys. It needs to be unabridged. Don't utilize birth certificates. I'm sure if your kids are quite young, you automatically got unabridged. Perhaps for the parents in this environment, you guys need to make sure that you do have unabridged birth certificates.
Okay,
then the one that we
just on that, just to elaborate on the so the difference between abridged and unabridged documentation is that the new documents that are being issued does not stipulate unabridged on the documents. It just says birth certificate. But the only difference between unabridged and unabridged is the long version, the full version of all the document, all the details on the document, which means it has got your parents' full name and ID number on there. That is the full one. So the abridged doesn't have your parents' details on there, just as a side note.
Yeah, good point, Len. I think that that's also very relative when we talk about marriage certificates. Marriage certificates, guys, and South Africa is problematic on marriage certificates. My wife and I applied for our marriage certificate over a year ago, an unabridged marriage certificate, and we're still waiting. So it is a challenge. Specifically, the unabridged marriage certificates. If you haven't got yours, or if you haven't started with that process, please do that as soon as this lockdown is lifted up, and let's make sure that we get the unabridged marriage certificates. Do you want to talk about what the difference is between unabridged and the norm, Len? I think the norm, most people know it because they got it from the church, and they think that that's the unabridged version.
Yeah, so the unabridged version is the one that you get from the Department of Home Affairs as well. And I think it is a fairly new document because everyone that's been immigrating and stuff has not needed to have that document out of the questions that people have asked, so and also it's been a document that has been such a big delay for especially our program, so that's why I said from the beginning, if this is something that you want to take on, which is immigration, get those documentations straight away, because those things can bring in quite a lot of delay in your process. So the unabridged marriage certificate is not the one that you got, the little white piece of paper right in the beginning when you we're still in love. I'm only joking. So
you're still in honeymoon phase.
It's the hard copy that you get from the Department of Home Affairs.
Yeah, guys. Then obviously, what's very important is if you're wanting to do an immigration process, and you're trying to do it with you and your spouse. I mean, there's a lot of common law marriages. You have to be legally married. So if you've been with your partner for the last 15, 20 years, it doesn't matter. You still need to go and get a legal document, go to a court and get that legal document signed up that thing is in place. So that's what's critical and important on that one. The other side of it is that your next step that you're going to be looking at is obviously if there was a divorce or if there was a death in a previous marriage. We need those certificates as well, or your agent that you're busy immigrating or doing an immigration process with, they would require that. So once again, it doesn't matter if you're going to the States or wherever your choice of going to. So that's very, very important. A lot of people, they got divorced so many years ago, you're going to need that certificate.
So also just to touch on the divorce certificate, if you don't know where to go, you go to the court where you got divorced. So they will have, they should have it on record, your certificates over there.
Yeah. Guys, so then obviously the next document that becomes quite critical in terms of this is a police clearance. So the police clearance, things have also changed, dynamics have changed in South Africa recently, but your police clearance is generally, it's valid for 6 months. So you need to time that very carefully. Any immigration, they're going to ask you for a clearance. And to that point, if you have, for example, spent more than 6 months in any other state, so for example, or any other country, should I say, let's say I was applying, I needed to get a police clearance over here in South Africa, as well as, for example, if I was in Australia for more than 6 months, I'd have to get for Australia as well. So those are just important things to realize, that when you do the police clearances, that is going to be relative to the table. In terms of immigration documents, that's what it is. Now, let's talk a little bit about how do we go about doing that. Obviously, like Lenny's mentioned, you're either doing it from the Home Affairs offices that you're close to, or those. We do have some guys that can help to do. I mean, you've got some agencies that do the Q for you, and you've got certain factors like that. So if you are battling with some of these things, we will give you names of 2 or 3 people that you can discuss these matters with, get a quote from them on. We'd obviously just refer you through to them, and you can then make your own decision in terms of if you'd like to follow the process with them or not. Generally in South Africa, it does help to have someone that can help you do it, unless you've got the time to go and sit at the Home Affairs office and spend all day in those queues.
Yeah. So Trevor, I mean, we've covered a lot of topics today and a lot of issues today. I think we should leave it at that. And what I'm going to do, I'm going to then just give you guys a taste of what is to come on Thursday. Like I said, and next week Tuesday, and on next week Thursday. So on Thursday we have got a panel to come in and answer some of the questions, and this panel would be none other than our partners, people from Visa Solutions, and we will disclose the people closer to the time. We are very excited about this. We are very excited to be open and honest about the people that we have got partnerships with. We are very proud of them and what they've done, and it's very good to have them on our green room chat, and as also get your questions ready for them. So get your questions in, that we can maybe touch on these things beforehand, and we can cover some of your questions. But we will go through, like we said, this elephant in the room, this Trump scenario, and what their opinions and their facts around this thing is. Then next week, Tuesday, we will try and cover a topic that is relevant to people in our program, or someone that wants to immigrate to America as well. So what is the expectation once you get to America? What does America's system look like? So we will covering topics of the credit score that you need for American, how American system works on the back of that. We will have a panel in for that. And then on Thursday, we will be, we've got a professor that will be joining us, and then she will be covering the emotional aspect of immigration. So get those questions ready for us as well, and maybe get some tissues ready as well, and hopefully it's not too sad, but we can get through it together. So it's been fun, guys. It's been a great chat. Thanks, Trevor, for your time, and thank you guys for joining us. If you have any questions, please put it in our group, and then we'll try and cover it as much as possible.
Great. Thanks, guys. All the best.
Thanks, guys. Ciao.
Ciao.